Hey guys, it's Fives. I'm so sorry. It's been forever since I've done a video. I got ambitious and I blew my computer up. Way the hell up, actually. Not a manufacturing problem, just my own crap, I guess. But the good news is we're back. Everything's healthy. And I decided that now that it's working, because I'm streaming right now, I wanted to try my hand at doing something a little bit different. So my wife actually gave me the idea of a sleeper case, which is something that, that looks like old school, whatever, but on the inside is tricked out and everything. So instead of going too crazy, I'm keeping myself on a budget, but I wanted to customize the interior while keeping the exterior pretty mellow and calm. So what we're starting with today is we're going to be making custom cabling for all of the individual power components of my computer. So this one is a 24 pin, I have a 8-pin EPS, and I ran out of wire, but I'll make the 8-pin in another stream, hopefully, we'll see. I guess we'll find out how that goes. But today I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and cut or strip and crimp all of the wires. Stream is dying right now. Let me fix this real fast. All right, hopefully we're back. Hopefully it's not too much of a mess. Okay, so we are trying to do a 24-pin power cable for the motherboard. Now, there's two tricks to this. One, the 24 pins, most standard 24 pins now are not truly 24 pin, I guess. I'll have to pull up the pinout to explain it completely. But the basics is that most motherboards don't require that much voltage for 24 pin. And then there's also the 8-pin EPS, but we'll get to that. So what the trick is that there'll be 24 pins going from the power supply, but there'll only be 16, or I believe in my case there's 20. We'll have 20 individual pieces there, so not too much. I guess we'll find out. So that'll involve some soldering, which we're not going to get to today. My plan for today is to strip some of these, get the pins set up on this end, and then sleeve what won't be turned into double pins, or double cables, which we'll have to do soldering for later, and we'll need more wire because I'm out. So let's get to it. I'm gonna turn the music up a little bit. I might be a little bit quiet. These are all my notes. I will move this. So what we're going to start with is we're stripping just this side, yeah? Okay, so what we need to do this, I've got it all bundled up, but I'll probably take it apart, we'll see. The basics, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our wire strippers, easy peasy, and two different crimping tools because for whatever reason this one is not milled correctly and is missing a little boop piece to it. I'll show you when we get there. So anyway, we're gonna strip, we're gonna do that, and then we get to it. I'm hoping we're gonna do some of this today. We've got plenty of sleeving for the cables. We're focusing right now on, we're gonna do red later in a different sleeve. I think the EPS is actually gonna have red. But our 24 pin is going to be mostly, or excuse me, our 8 pin is going to be mostly yellow and gray, and our 24 pin is the majority of it is actually going to be purple, which has not gotten here yet. So we'll see why that is. Oh well, we're waiting for the sleeves to come in. So sorry guys, I'm just trying to check out why all these frames are dropping. Keep an eye on it, see what happens. Okay, so we're not gonna be using too much of the red today. So we're gonna focus on crimping everything for the 24 pin and then move on to crimping and cabling the 8-pin. Let's see how far we get. So we don't need that just yet. What we do need is the stripper. And now that I'm noticing, because I actually just finished doing a cable job for a friend, I might not have enough terminals. But let's get through as many as we can. We'll start with the 8-pin, because at least then we can do the sleeving for it. Going to line these up a little bit just for my own productivity. And we'll start with what we're going to do is we're going to strip the standard. We'll get a little closer. The standard is for 2 millimeters. Now, I'm going to eyeball that, but that's just because I've done a few of these now. But I should be able to just pull it. Come to autofocus, please. Whatever, camera, I love you, but you can do better. Anyway, that's where we're at. We're going to do that for all of these. Try and keep it the same each time. This cable length, it's okay to be a little longer because we can always trim it. I try to not be too much shorter. I mean, we can always add more, but... Been in a real synthwave mood lately, and I don't know why. I like it. I guess maybe it's because I'm building a new computer. I watched the other day. I watched the new Blade Runner, and it was fantastic. I hadn't seen it in a while. I didn't even get to see it in theaters, which I feel like is a waste. Just the tiniest bit. Whoops. Didn't quite pull off what we were hoping for on that one. I've seen these guys that have like a stripper that's just like you pull it and it pulls it off, and I'm super jealous. I definitely want that. Okay, so now we've got everything stripped off on one end. I don't want to quite do it for the other just yet. We'll get to that. So next stage is we have these ATX terminal pins. Tiny little bastards. Can't really see very well. Anyway. So one of these is this is a female pin, which is what all of our cables will be. They'll be female on both ends because the power supply and the motherboard are both male. So what we're gonna do is we need to first prep it with one crimping tool, this one. This is a Tycon. This is from Mainframe Computers. And unfortunately, it's a great tool. You'll hear it's got like the coolest... most satisfying crimping noise ever. So you crimp it down, you prep it. Can't quite see it because of the lighting. I don't know if you can see that. There it is, the autofocus. But essentially it makes a little ring with the terminal. And then all you gotta do is, now that you have this little ring, straighten out that wire. The ring fits around the wire. You can just hold it in place there. And come over with the other crimping tool. Slot it into this little spot here. And then we're not putting too much, I'm trying not to put too much pressure on it. I don't want it to go all the way through just yet because I want to make one little, I've noticed that if I don't make a tiny little adjustment, it's for whatever reason, maybe it's because it's just a manufactured tool or whatever. It's just the tiniest bit off on the alignment, and if I don't adjust it, it won't pinch the cable correctly. So now the terminal is actually in there. It's kind of bonded together, but not fully. So we want to get that last little bit in there and make sure the crimper gets down right onto the cable, but not breaking it. So it kind of pinches in there. It actually kind of makes like two little hooks, like a little heart shape, and then it hooks in and around and splits the cable, kind of pulls it apart in half, but keeps everything intact. And it's just a stronger, you can see now I can give it a pretty good tug. And the reason that you want it in there firm is, one, it's wiggly, but also once we start making these plugs, actually putting these together, I'm going to paint these, I think, because I don't love the white, or maybe I'll just weather them. That could be cool. But yeah, once we get these plugged in, you want a really firm bond because there's a locking system within the plug. I'm putting it over here, you can't really see. Inside the plug is a locking system that holds it in place. So it's got to be pretty tough. Okay, 1 down, 8 more to go. Let's do it again. I think for the next video, once I have more terminals, I will also probably prep a lot of these terminals so I can just pull one out and put it on the cable. But I didn't want to deny anybody the ASMR satisfaction of crimp, 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 because it sounds badass. And I love it. All right, next cable. I need like an actual workbench where I'm not doing this at my desk. Whoops. This might be easier if everything's not bundled up, but let's see. Just wanted to get, again, I'm just doing the tiniest little pinch at first because I want to just nudge it onto the cable and make sure that it's got a nice tight grasp. And then we'll make the adjustment. Pinch it down just a little bit more, and then we'll do that final one. Now, I think with a properly milled set of crimpers, this would all just be one step, right? You just clink, 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 and it's done. And I'm super jealous of that. But work with what you got. Everything here is basically on budget because I spent all my money on, making sure the computer still works. Which I felt was important. This one got pushed down just a little too hard. Now the terminals kind of... You want to make sure... Sorry, I'm mumbling to myself, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that the terminal and the wire within it is level and touching this specific point. It's hard to show because my camera's not great, and for whatever reason the frame rate sucks. Alright, hopefully we're back. Let's see what happens. So we're just... Somebody's dog is barking out there. Poor puppers. All right, that's one more. Next. prep another terminal. Again, you're just pinching it a little bit. Put it in the small one. Make sure it's straight. And it makes a tiny little circle. And then tiny little circle goes in here. I'm trying to keep these all going the same direction. It's not super important at this step because we're going to pull these all out and put cable over them. But who knows? Sorry guys, I'm just a little distracted by the constant frame dropping. I'm wondering why that is. Alright, so I'm going to try and clamp this one down. It's being a little... Alright, I think what we'll do, since we're going to have to take all these out anyway, should probably just take them apart. Pop it in there again. The lightest squeeze in here. We want it to kind of mold into that heart shape. And then just the tiniest nudge. Oops. It's a little too much nudging there. Too much of the nudge team is not good. And then back on down. Again, we're not too hard because we don't want to cut the cable. Now sometimes you get a pinch, kind of like this, and it, or sometimes I have been getting it because of my crimper, and myself. We get this like little extra wing, and I just kind of have been folding that over because I don't want too much stuff sticking out because we're gonna sleeve over 90% of this, and we want it as firm as possible because if it falls loose, that whole cable's done. And you basically have to replace that one. And some of them, if you have to replace it, it's a pain in the butt, especially if it's a double terminal. So yeah, avoid that. Next up, that's 3. Let's take you, friend. So again, same old. Wrap it up. So we're gonna be doing actually 2 builds over stream in the next coming months or so. Again, I'm trying to do this kind of on a budget. I don't have a ton of cash to do all of this. So some of this, I mean, all of this is coming out of my pocket, but a lot of this is going to be on a budget. So the first plan is this computer one is going to be a DIY on everything, and I plan to show off the whole rework, the whole theme in 2 weeks. And I've been kind of ambitious. I've got a lot of stuff to do. It's not just cables. We're also going to do a paint job. There's a bunch of custom art that's being added, some acrylic stuff, some lighting. Pretty excited, actually. A good friend of mine, an artist who I will link down in the comments, was looking for some commission work, and he offered to step up. So we're going to be doing a bunch. I'm super excited. Oops. Got twisted around there. sure it's nice and tight in there. I don't want to pinch down too much on the actual wiring. I want to be pinching down on that insulation. I even want to know how much faster I could do this with like a real working crimper. Okay, that one's done. Next. Prep another one. So I think the other part of this will be I need to learn. Ooh, we're okay. I need to learn how to paint metal. I've never done any kind of like aluminum or anything like that. I'm hoping it's just a dry spray paint kind of vibe, but we'll find out. We're going for kind of a sleeper on the outside. I haven't really decided what the outside color is going to be. Right now it's black, but it's a little beat up. It's very weathered, I guess. And I'm looking for kind of a clean aesthetic. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think would be a good outside color. Maybe like a gray vibe. That could be cool. Again, the inside, however, though, we're going full hog ham. It's going to be great. The current case we're working with is a Meshify C from Fractal. The full size, not the mini. Oop. I think this one might actually be a little too long. I just want to trim off just the tiniest bit of this wire because we need just enough space where it can plug into the terminal, but if it's too long, then you're not actually getting the clearance with the wiring, and it's no dice, so there we go. It's a much better fit. I don't know if you guys can see it. My camera sucks for this, but let's see. Should be able to kind of see the spacing if we can get the thing to focus. I don't know, it's focusing on me. But it's almost a perfect fit, so that's great for us. Just need to line it up. Little nudge here and there. Again, I have these weird sausage fingers. Never makes it easy. Criminy. Why is this becoming such a pain? Let's try this again. Really 100% sure why this one's being so difficult, but we're gonna figure it out. Oop, not quite enough. I legit need to find a better crimper. I just got a little uneven here, and I just want to poke down the wiring just a smidge. Alright, tuck this in just a bit. Finish off. I legitimately wonder, maybe I could switch it. I guess there's just rivet there, no big deal. The tool is set up as for a righty, and since I'm left-handed, it really throws me through a loop. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so we have, let's see where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, last two. Put these down here for now. Going to gotta just prep these last two together, maybe. Just like this sound. Oh yeah, get a nice pretty ring in there. We will autofocus. Anyway, it's there. I don't know why I do that to you guys. Go back to the wireless headphones. Wish I had more of a thumbnail. That would for sure help this. Okay. What did I just lose? Give it a nice, I don't feel like that's quite where it should be. There we go. A little bit better. Just pinch these in. Give this a little tuck, and presto. All right, that's 7. Last one, 8. And then after this, we'll do some, we're going to do some sleeving. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. You can let me know where I'm messing up there. Okay, and then we're just see if I can get this. So you guys, I'll make a change. See if I can get this to focus a little bit better. Okay, So you might be able to barely see it, that there is a... Come on, focus. Yeah. Better. There's like the tiniest little wing here at the end there, and I just want to clamp that down because I don't want that sticking out when you try to plug it into the actual plug for the final bit. If it's sticking out too much, then it's not going to actually crimp in there, and you'll have like a loose cable, and it'll be a pain in the butt. Camera, come on back to me. Thank you. So now, pinch it out, gross. There we go. Now that it's pinched, it'll actually hold a little bit tighter, and then we'll just adjust these little tiny wings. Ready to go. All right, that's 8. Let's do some colors. I think we're going to start with some yellow. Get into the grays a little bit later, so I think, let's check my maths. But I think we have 4 yellows, 4 grays. So let's start with those. Get our crimping tools off the table, so don't need that anymore. Now we're gonna use the most specialized of items, a lighter, some heat shrink, and our mitts. What else? Oh yeah, the sleeving. And we'll need a pair of snippy snip scissors. So we'll just take a nice length. I'm not gonna get too scientific with this, because I do actually happen to have another roll of this yellow. But I just want to, what we're gonna do, I have a focus on my hand, is we want to line it up so that the mesh, the sleeving, is right at the little wing where it's clamping down on the wire. So I usually measure just right up to it. Make sure I'm not pulling the sleeving too hard, because it does stretch, and if you stretch it, you get an incorrect thing. And I'm just gonna clip it off where a little after where the cable ends. You want to make sure that you have a clean cut. If you don't, you just kind of give it the tiniest bit of heat, and it'll stay there. Great. All right. So now this will also make it a little easier, because we can just slip it in one end, feed it right through, easy peasy. Okay, I like to give it a little straighten so that we know where we're facing everything. And then again, it's gonna be right up. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Yeah, perfect. Right up to the wing. Okay, but not too far, because we're gonna add a heat shrink to this, and we want the mesh plastic to melt right on that little wing, right on the clamping point, but not past it, because if it clumps up too much, then it becomes a real mess. And you can ruin cables at this stage, because if you put it too high up, it will clump up too much, and you won't actually be able to get it into your pin connector. So we're putting heat shrink, cable, and then over the wire. Gonna line it up right on there, and that should be perfect. Hoping this is right on the money. Take the lighter, use the red part, turn, turn, turn. Now it's okay if the plastic's, the little thing's gonna smoke or little bubbles. That means you want it to actually get to that bubbling point a little bit on all the edges, because you're trying to melt the plastic under it. And you care more about the mesh melting than this heatsink or heat shrink. Let it cool for a sec. And then while it's still kind of meshy, smart people use tin snips, or snips, but I'm just gonna use my fingers. Potato. I get lunch, guys. I'm gonna go get some snips. That one came off real clean for the most part. So then you get a nearly clean. This one's a little messed up. Nearly clean connection between the sleeving and the pinout, so that when it goes into the connector, it'll be seamless, or nearly so. We still have some end on this side, and we can straighten it out a little bit. Pull, 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 and we'll get that extra layer that we need. I left a little bit on the end here because when we can cut it to size, we want it to be perfect. This is going to go perfectly to length of where we want to go. I keep putting it way up here, you can't see it. So it's going to go to the length that we have measured. This one will be set, so it's going to put it right. But I want the lengths to be exact so that everything is flat and flush with the case as much as possible. And I don't want to have to tuck anything under. This should be an exact connection point from the route that I've done from my video card all the way down to the power supply. So that's the goal. One down. Again, measure it out. A little bit here that's a little bit messed up, and I don't want that, so I'm gonna trim it off. You don't need to give it a ton of heat, you just need those ends to be sealed. Okay. Again, we're gonna measure it out. Nice clean cut. Don't have to worry about too much of that. And off to the races. Sorry, 1 second, just checking. We'll feed this through. Oh, I love this song. I'm gonna turn this up.
A 300,000-degree baptism by nuclear fire. I'm not sorry. We had it coming. A surge of white-hot atonement will be our wake-up call. Hope for our future is now a stillborn dream. The bombs begin to fall and I'm rushing to meet my love. Please.
Okay, again, we're feeding it in right up to the point where we want the sleeving to meet the crimping point, but not over it. Put a little heat shrink on here. This one's a bit more frayed. line it up. Mesh. Heat shrink. Should be perfect. Now the two main fall offs that I have run into is the heat shrink not being properly set on there. If it's too far over, it just kind of melts to everything and it doesn't do a great job. And the other one is not giving it enough time. I was putting it at first when I first did this, I was putting it at such a low temperature because I was like, it's smoking, right? But you actually do want a certain amount of heat on this because you want this mesh to melt. If it doesn't melt, there's no point. See, this is a bad alignment and it didn't quite... This is fine, we can salvage this. You can see that it melted, maybe not quite see it, but you can see that the mesh melted, but not quite enough to fuse to the wire. So we're just gonna give it a little eyeball love, just the tiniest amount. We just want it to be stuck on there. I think I'm actually going to do another one. That's not what you want. Bend while the wire's hot. Hopefully we didn't break anything. Okay, that's better. Oop. There we go. A little bit better. It's a little bit more bonded to it. That's great. And then, of course, the other end, bonding it will lock it down completely. All right, 2 down, 2 to go. Yellow at least. Just trying to keep the mess managed, guys. Don't have the most space. All right. Cable. I should just... It's all going away anyway today. Gonna use it all up. Together. So much easier. The last set that I did, I crimped both sides first, which I can see why you would do that, but it also made it a lot harder to get through this mesh because there's these little wings on the terminal that are kind of holding everything in when you're connected to a plug, right? And those wings get caught on the mesh, and so you hit a point where if you try and pull it out, it just like shreds the mesh. Sure it's all lined up again.
Hey, yeah?
was like hot glue.
God, I hope so. Me too.
It's all calluses, guys. After a while, you just stop feeling it. Bueno. Cool. Next. All right, this is our last yellow. Ooh, whoops. Messed that up. Okay, so again, we're lining it up right on the crimping point. Just the tiniest bit over it. Nothing special. It's like a slip and slide. Heat sink just keeps going down. Okay. A little bit over, perfect. I guess just a straight up heat gun would work too. Not as fun though, really. Try and straighten this out while we wait for it to cool. Hot potato. And the reason that we use this heat shrink over it, melt it, and then pull it off is that it gives a more even melt on the mesh. It actually keeps it cleaner. It's a little wasteful, but it definitely adds a nice layer to it. All right, there's our yellows, halfway done through our EPS, or rather this is our PCIe. Perfect. So I think we're gonna do the last three in gray, and then the last cable is a double pin, which I need the soldering iron to do, so we won't do that today. So we'll get through this and then see what time we are at, and we'll go from there. Ton of yellow. I'm gonna have to use more of this. There it is. thing. Okay. The last of the 8-pin, because it is a double pin, is actually going to go in the middle. So the power supply connection will be gray cabling, but the other two sides are going to be, one will be gray, one will be yellow. So this gray for sure feels like a much tighter connection. I don't know why. Honestly, if I was a cosplayer, I'm not, right? Obviously. But if I was, I would use this stuff for if you wanted to make like a cool rope vibe going on, but you also wanted to pass electrical. Now, I don't know, this can do up to 300 volts, which is probably more than you want rolling on your back. Guessing there's not a battery for that. But I wonder if you could make a bunch of dummies and have it pass, like, one cable pass 12 volts. Oh, yeah, that gray just melts so perfectly. Anyway, just saying. Or if you wanted structural stuff, but you wanted to look like kind of a meshy, ropey kind of vibe, like I bet you could put quite a bit of weight on one of these connections. Just saying. Is it more simple than just doing rope? No. Definitely not. But it is hollow, which might make it lighter. Or if you wanted to sleeve like a string for some kind of animatronics or something, that'd be cool. There we go. Little got caught in there. We'll clean that out. Alright, another one down. It's a pretty good melt, actually. I like that. So we're gonna line it up again with the crimping point. Pinch it down. Put some heat shrink over it. Give it some fuego. Not too much, you don't want to set it on fire. Give it a few seconds. Straighten all this out. Okay, perfect. Try not to burn your fingers doing this. Easy peasy. That's the last of the grays that we need to do for now. I will do another episode where we do with the soldering iron. I almost thought one of these terminals was lost. Where we go with the soldering iron and we'll make all of the double pins for all of our cables. There's 3 double pins that need to be made. We need 1 for the PCIe, 1 for the EPS, and 1 for the 24-pin MOBO. So we'll do all those next time around. Also, I think we'll fully sleeve the 24-pin. That's all really I have time for today. But this has been our first step. We are going to be doing a few of these, I think. Again, I plan to launch the full completion of the computer by next Tuesday. So I'm going to be trying to do some streams every day this week, or as many times this week as I can with cabling. The case is going into paint on probably Thursday, Friday next week. And in the meantime, I have a ton of artwork to do. Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, you know what to do. I still like you. And hit me up on Twitter. We're going to be talking a little bit more about this. Any work that I don't do on stream, I will be sharing on Twitter. So hit me up there. Keep an eye on this. We're going to be doing... This theme is we're doing Sleeper Borderlands. I'm super excited. Sleeper on the outside. Borderlands on the inside. It's going to be great. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.